Hi, and welcome to a Drafthouse Diary for Thursday, August 15th, 2024, when we came out here to the Alamo Drafthouse at Littleton's Aspen Grove once again to see Alien Romulus. We got a chance to see it here on opening night. And joining me is once again Ian, my co-host for the Intermillennium Media Project podcast. You can find him at itemcrafting.com.
Yes.
Now, we're not going to go into too much detail about the movie because, once again, this is going to be the subject of a special bonus, something new to watch episode of the Intermillennium Media Project. But it is a Drafthouse Diary, so we do have to document our visit.
Exactly.
How did you feel about the movie?
Well, I've definitely got to let some of my thoughts about it as a whole gestate and pop out of my chest later on. But I'm going to actually use what one of the other people who was in the restroom after the movie talking about it had the perfect metaphor, which was a really good greatest hits album or remix of a popular song from an artist you like.
That's a pretty good metaphor.
Yeah.
Nothing is ever going to be as powerful and as unique and as innovative as the original Alien. Nothing is going to distill that into the quintessential 80s action movie like Aliens. But if you want a good horror movie set in the Alien universe with a few little additional tidbits about what's going on in the larger story, I'd say this was good. Nothing earth-shattering, but worth seeing.
Well, we hope it doesn't shatter the earth. That's part of the entire point.
That'll be the next movie.
Exactly.
So other parts of this trip to the Alamo.
Yeah.
They do have a special Alien Romulus menu, which has a lot of things that include Shiner chili, which we learned has a beer base to them. We didn't try any of those, but I did try one thing from that special menu, and that is the Zero Gravity Shake, which included vanilla ice cream, Wild Turkey 101, and hot honey. It was an interesting combination. I don't know that I would get it again. The combination of the bourbon and the hot honey gave it a very sharp taste that wasn't always pleasant, but it was interesting, and it's riding that current wave of craze for hot honey. Also, I had the Caesar salad with grilled chicken, one of my go-tos, and it was good as always. What did you try, Ian?
I went for the buffalo chicken pizza, which is excellent. I think it's great. If you like blue cheese, it's absolutely for you. But as my dad pointed out, it's not as spicy as the name would suggest. But what I did was actually ask for a cup of the Reaper sauce, which is their extra hot wings sauce. And I drizzled that on the top, and that really made it pack some punch. I thought it was a good combo, and it might have been a little strong for some people, but just being able to ask them for some extra buffalo sauce might be what that needs if you're looking for more of a kick.
And that's a good tip in general. The Alamo's really good about if they have a sauce that's part of some dish, you can always add for a little bit of that to add to something it doesn't normally come with. They might charge a little bit for it. Sometimes they don't, but it's usually worth it if you want to change the menu up and get that little bit of variety.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
The pre-show for this, not a whole lot to say, but because it was the exact same pre-show that we saw when we came out here to see the original 1979 Alien in its 45th anniversary re-release a few months ago. So it had I don't know if everything was in the same exact order, but all of the elements were there.
Most of the things were, but there was a few new elements, such as some advertisements for old Alien toys and such, which I think were new to this version.
It might have been.
I think they used the previous one as a bit of a rough draft, and this is a polished version, but most of it's the same. It's very fun, it's very good, and it's weirdly effective at just giving you a kind of a picture of Alien as a franchise in culture overall.
And those commercials are wild because these were commercials connected to the 1980s Aliens, and I think one of them was connected to the original 79 Alien. These are incredibly violent movies, rated R, filled with body horror, and they're selling kids toys based on these movies. I guess they knew even then kids are going to see these movies, which was pointed out once again. They had the local TV news from Texas from 1979 reporting on the fact that adults are taking their kids to see Alien. We saw that in the pre-show for Alien. It's still fun and weird to see that.
It is so weird and fun to see it. I will also say, on the toy commercials and everything else, there is a very funny element, if you know the franchise, about the fact that all the toy commercials have, getting the Colonial Marines figures that are shooting the aliens, and the aliens have little break apart effects, and it's like, someone hasn't seen the movie.
Yeah.
These toys are flipped in terms of who is more powerful.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
Yep. But they looked cool.
They looked very cool.
So, with the appropriate expectations for this movie, I'd say I'd recommend it. And in general, this was a fun trip to the Alamo.
One last thing I want to add in, we actually sat towards the front. We were in some of the first 2 rows, and there's some films I wouldn't want to do that with, but especially for a horror film, Alamo's front rows are not as close to the screen as a lot of other theaters. You've got some extra space because of that table and that aisle that they need open, and it is really good. Being that close, having it loom over you like that, actually I thought added to the effect of this. It's a set of seats that are usually not clicked until everything else fills up, but I would actually consider grabbing those early for a film of this kind of genre, because it did a lot for the atmosphere.
Yeah, certainly if there's a screening you want to attend and all you've got left are those first 2 rows, don't hesitate to take them, because there's a lot of space between the screen and even the first row. But for this movie, any movie that is world building and has lots of visual effects, it's very immersive. That screen is wall to wall from that angle. And also the sound. I'm old enough to remember Sense-Around from the 1970s, one of these sound-based special effects that shook everything. The bass that you get in spaceship crashes and engines and the like, it was almost Sense-Around, and I really enjoyed that. It was a very visceral take on what was very good sound design through the movie.
Very good sound design.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this Drafthouse Diary. If you did, please click that like button down below. And if you are interested in seeing more of these as they come out, click the subscribe button. It costs you nothing, and it helps the channel. And if you're interested in my review of that Alien 45th Anniversary re-release, take a look at this video next. But most important, thank you very much for joining us. I'll be back soon with more. In the meantime, enjoy your movies, and when you do, stay till the end of the credits.